Good morning. Welcome to FYI family. How are you guys doing this morning? It's such a privilege to be here with you guys one more time. Beatrice Selby, Edward Brooms, and I see Joanna Green is here with us. Joanna. Good to have you here. All of you folks out front with us this morning, this Monday, the 22nd day of July. Heading down to the end of the month. Folks, this is the final week in the month of July. Believe it or not, let me just double check. We're the 27th, tomorrow's the 23rd. It means we got a week to the end of the month. Yep. And by this time next week, we're right on the 29th. And then we're heading right into August, believe it or not, and all of those activities that are associated with August, like emancipation, among other things happening in August there. And this is going to be our final morning program for a couple of days, folks, until we see each other again. Good to have all of you, as I said, on the live here with us this morning. We're looking forward for some time away. Yep, and we know that you guys are eager to get rid of us. Anne-Marie Selby. Anne-Marie says she's peeping from work today. She's watching us from work. Anne-Marie, good morning to you. Karen McPherson, we see you there. Wanella Garnett, we see you there as well. Rastaman, Lucille Kendall, good to have all of you. Alistair Gill, Sean Maxwell, Urban Don Cook. Saw Urban Don posing up on the Staten Island Ferry. Am I right? Staten Island Ferry in her lovely yellow. Yep. Love that color. Love your choice of color there. Ingrid Crawford. Watching Irvin Don too. Michaela, Marlene Thomas, Michaela Andrews, Coates. Good to have you there. Carl Johnson is with us. Dexter Charles is here too. Good to have all of you here with us. Beatrice said, don't go. Don't go. Gail and Mark and Edward. Folks, rest is so important. Y'all want me falling apart and this broadcast and falling asleep and, as per normal. Dan Abrams, Robin Kendall. Good to have all of you on the live. Claire Alexis Charmley Richmond. No doubt started her day hours ago. Hit the ground running. Good to have you with us, Claire. Great to have you with us. Dan Abrams is here too. Robin, Dolly, Irwin. June Cameron is on the live. Good to have you, June. Irwin says you're minding my business, Sharon. A little bit, not too much. A little bit. Jilly G, good to see you. Good to see you on the live, Jilly. Great to have you on the live, as a matter of fact. Super great to have you on the live. All right, let me pull down the audio a little bit. Don't want it spiking and the audio clipping. That's the last thing we want. But so great to have all of you with us this morning. We got a couple things not plenty. A couple we think you guys ought to know about as we start. We start the day today with the first 15. Stephen Hercules, we see you there. Marcia Daniel, Stephen Hercules, Richard, is it Beacon? Naomi Druck is here with us as well. Good to have you, Naomi, Mark, and all the other folks joining us this morning. Oh, it's such a privilege. Let me come on a little bit. Great to have all of you folks on this morning. Hope you guys have had a great weekend. And the biggest news over the weekend, Naomi, were you rejoicing? Those of you in Region 11, Margaret Elizabeth, how are you folks doing? They're telling us Biden. Yep. Naomi says now 15 things today is vacation mode. You call her name there. Biden stood down yesterday and Kamala Harris stood up. Biden endorsed Kamala as his choice for the Democratic nominee. How are you guys taking that? Do let us know. We are watching social media light up, and all the folks in the US follow quite a few of them on Twitter. So I was following from that end all that they were saying. You know, we heard there's still a chance that some folks might contend against Kamala to be head of the ticket. Margaret says, I'm with her. How many of you other folks saying that? I'm with her. Yep. I'm with her. Ron says Biden was forced down. So Ron, you don't believe that Biden should have come down? You don't believe that? Yvonne Ramon and Carl Johnson. Gwen Anderson, Gail Alicock. Good to have all of you on the live this morning. So Biden is out, says he's going to focus on the remainder of his presidency, finishing strong. That's an important thing to do. Finishing strong. I saw some good reviews. What do I want to call it? Reviews. You know, for this action that Biden took. In the interest of the country, he said he's going to stand down. So a lot of folks calling him a true patriot. I think I saw it down in Brazil saying, there's not a lot of people that give up power easily. I think that was a swipe at Trump too. Grace Noel, Gwyneth Anderson, Lynette Finance. It's not a lot of folks give up power. Julie G. Not a lot of folks give up power easily. And Biden, in the interest of the country, has decided to walk away from it. Dolly Anderson says, I love Biden. Biden is my boy, but he's not in good health. He did well for America. It's time to move on. Yep. Yeah, it was quite a day yesterday. It was quite a day watching that. So Biden moves on, folks. We're coming to the 592. Hugh Alistair Trotman, Yvonne Ramasar, Owen Hines. Good to have you on the live. Laverne Joseph, Magnus Barrow, Gwen Anderson. Folks, you know it's a good thing you can do for us as you come on this morning. Share the live. That's a good thing you can do for us as we start the broadcast this morning. Marlon Thomas needs to back off. I want Kamala wailing to Trump. I like a good drama. I like drama, period. Lionel Simon says, good statesmanship. Yeah. Yeah. Know when it's time to go. A lot of people don't know when it's time to go, you know. Don't know when it's time to. It's like me. Got to go off on vacation. I know when it's time to go. Coming back in a couple of days, though. And you're gonna tired for seeing my face. Yeah. Ron Basantra, Dolly Anderson, Deborah Pearson, Myrna Stobie. Good to have all of you on the live this morning. Well, the other ones we come into 592. You know who gone as well? Rambo. Raymond Gaskin was quite a fella. Advisor to Chetty Jagan. He was at one point chairman of GPL board. Politician, commentator, economist. You name it. Quite a colorful character. Well, Raymond Gaskin transitioned over the weekend. I think he was 82. Sad to see him go as well. You know, the great poet Don John says, every man's death diminishes me. And so it is. And so it is with me. Every man's death. You know, we're going to miss the flair. The flair that was Raymond Gaskin. You don't get two Raymond in one lifetime. Thankfully, we were able, you know, so thankful for his own contribution. So a lot of folks paying tribute over the weekend to Raymond Gaskin. He came, he did his thing, he made his mark. Mornings for the rest of us now. Aubrey Stevens, Debbie Collins, Yvonne Ramasar, Myrna Stobie, Lester Williams, Rohan and Gail and Yvonne, Marlon. It's for us now. Folks, you all stop bothering with who say what and who do what and who won't like you. You come here, people like you. You come here to let the purposes of God be done in your life, and then we exit stage left. But who watching you and who's saying what and doing what and all of that? I'm thankful Ramon Gaskin was never consumed by those things. But he was determined, my Frank Sinatra voice, came on the board to do things his way. Did his thing, left his legacy, made his mark. Now he's transitioned life. 82. Should we be also lucky? Look, we can't even see 40. 35, 30. Young people been cut down so young. Saw some of it over the weekend. God have his mercies. God have his mercies. So our thoughts and prayers with the Gaskin family. Our thoughts and prayers with them. They lost a father. We've lost such a colorful personality on the local scene. Our thoughts with them. Our thoughts with them. Yep. An interesting column over the weekend. Naomi says he was drama. I love me a good bit of drama. Love it, love it. And it takes one dramatist to do another. It takes a dramatist. It takes one thespian to know another. Interesting column by Ralph Ramkaran, columnist, attorney at law, senior counsel, senior executive in the New and United Guyana Party. Interesting column. Over the weekend, we were looking at it. And part of what he's been saying, we need a new voters list. Correct is right. Fully support a new voters list. We got more people on the voters list than we got citizens in this country. That's one of the argumentations. Sound good, yeah? That's camera drama down. One of the argumentations made by Ralph. More people on the list. Right. Here what he writes in this column. The voters list has now grown larger. For 2020 elections, the voters list had 661,378 persons on it. All those names and the population for last year, according to the World Bank, 797,000 population of Guyana, 797,202. Right? So everybody on this list. Everybody's on this list. Then the World Bank had another figure, 813,834. Mr. Ramkaran concludes, the list is disproportionately large. He says it's convoluted. The list is convoluted. I hope you all join that protest every day, every Tuesday. It's going to happen tomorrow again. Outside of the Guyana Elections Commission, and they ask for a clean voters list. I hope that you join that. Folks, we gotta stand for something. Please and thank you. Let us stand for something, or we fall for anything. Right? Let us commit to standing for something out here. So we have an agreement here. That's what I want to get to. With Ralph, that we in fact need a clean voters list. Right? Last week, Tuesday, here's what some of the folks outside of the Elections Commission told us about a clean voters list. Take a listen. Take a look.
Good afternoon. We're out here again calling for a clean voters list and biometrics, which is absolutely necessary if we're going to have free, fair, and credible elections in Guyana. We will continue to make this call until GCOMS act and things happen for our people. We cannot go to a national, a regional, a national general elections with this list that currently existed. So I want to call on all of Guyana. Join the call. We need a clean voters list and biometrics.
Yes, and biometrics.
What we need?
We're out here again today protesting the padded voters list. As you know, the voters list exceeds the population of Guyana. And so we're saying we cannot go into any regional and general elections with that list. It is heavily padded, and unless GCOM does something about it, we're going to continue to be out here every week protesting until we get a new voters list, a clean voters list. And the clean voters list, when the registration for that list is being done, the biometrics must be used. We see in the past, the system that was used to compile the voters list gave way for fraud and gave way for the padded list that we now have. So we're demanding a clean, new voters list that is being done through biometrics.
Good afternoon. I know we're coming from you in front of GCOM, and I want to encourage everyone to come out here. We need a clean voters list in order for us to have a free and fair elections. We cannot have a free and fair election with a GCOM chairman that is compromised. We cannot have a free and fair election with a bloated voters list. What we need as the people of Guyana is biometrics. We need a clean voters list. And I'm encouraging the citizens of Guyana, this is your right, this is your democratic right, to come out. Young people, come out and sing your voice. We need to have a clean voters list.
We demand a clean voters list. The list is padded. And so we are asking and we demanding that a clean voters list in order for us to have democracy. The voters list got the people that are not in the country, and we need a clean voters list in order to have free and fair and a democratic elections.
I'm here this afternoon to stand with citizens of this country, demanding not only a clean voters list, but demanding biometrics. We saw during the 2020 elections, or after the 2020 elections, during the recount, the amount of corruption, the amount of fraud that was committed then. And so we are here demanding that in order for us to have a free and fair elections, the list must first be clean. Outside of the list being a clean one, we must adopt to what we call transparency, because we talk about it all the time. And so we should not be afraid if we want a transparency, if we don't have anything to hide. And so my call will continue to be a clean list and biometrics. And when do we want that? We want that now. We want that before the election, so that persons going there, electorates going there to vote, they're going to go there and vote with confidence that their vote is going to be counted. I can tell you about my experience during the recount, because I sat there for 33 days and I saw all that happened there. Many statements of polls that you saw with those figures there, many of them were inaccurate because we saw dead persons voting. And if you think that I'm lying, you check with them. You're going to see persons who have been dead, their names were ticked off, and they voted. And so today I will continue to stand demanding a clean voters list and biometrics.
Good afternoon. We're out here again calling for a clean voters list and biometrics, which is absolutely necessary if we're going to have
Yeah, as I was saying, apologies there. That was last week, and every Tuesday, these protest action that they are happening outside of the Ghana Elections Commission every Tuesday. And I know how excited folks like Margaret and Naomi must be to put some boots on the ground. But for those of you who are not in the diaspora, you guys can be a part of that. Take some time out your lunch break. Lots of you are home, on vacation. Lots of you are home. Housewives, might be husbands, working from home and all that. You can take a half hour, take the whole hour. Go out there and lend your voices for a clean voters list. And again, over the weekend we saw this, the whole column out of Conversation 3, which is the Ralph Ramkaran column in Sabbath News, dedicated to this whole issue of a clean voters list. If we don't have that, if the list is not sanitized, the whole process could be skewed. The whole process can be skewed. We might want to watch that. We might want to watch that. We talk about the clean voters list on one hand, and then we have this other issue of the high cost of living on the next, that we see the government denying, denying that there is an issue, that saying they have made several interventions to stabilize prices. Saw this headline coming out of the papers this morning. Government working directly with farmers to help stabilize food prices. So even the farmers are complaining. Right? Because if their produce and so on goes up and nobody is buying, right, they're helping the farmers to stabilize food prices, and yet they say, we ain't really got a problem. We ain't really got a problem. But this high cost of living is an issue that we're watching. It's an issue that we're looking at. And we did tell you, and we say so often, every Monday, Sabbath News publishes this article about the cost of living, how the cost of living affecting people. Today, it's its 85th edition. And every week they go into a community and ask a number of folks their impression of what the cost of living doing with them. How the cost of living treating you? How is the cost of living treating you? Now, what we're about to tell you is information coming out from Sabbath News. Sabbath News is pretty middle-road journalism in Guyana. This is not the key out of the Alliance with Change. It's not a new nation out of the PNCR, right? And it's not the, what is the one in the PAP called? It is not that one. Whatever it's called. I'm seeing the paper, but I can't remember the name of it, right? It's not that one. This is real journalism, talking to real people. And Sabbath News has had quite a number of things to say. Now, not only have they done, this is the 85th column, but every week they're in a different community talking with folks. It means that Sabbath News has spoken to 85 communities. And that's a good snapshot. Thanks, Erwin Dunn. The Mirror is a PPP newspaper. The Mirror. So this is Sabbath News. 85 communities. 85 communities. And it's always the same thing. How things by y'all? How the cost of living treating you? The TikTok folks or TikTokers. How the cost of living treating you? Here's what several folks, according to Sabbath News, said to them. And I want to capture which community these comments are coming from this week, right? These comments are coming from members of the public in Madia, Region 8, and Atlanticville on the East Coast. Madia, Region 8, and Atlanticville. And this is some of what Quilicia Fredericks, a 24-year-old, said. She's a teacher of Madia. She said, for me, the cost of living hard because certain things you don't get to buy cheap in the market here. Madia has jobs, yes, but a lot of unskilled workers. So we would have to search a little. Sorry, Madia has jobs, but a lot of unskilled workers. So you have to search a little to find work somewhere or try to sell something. That's what she says. Or try to sell something because there's lots of us that do not have work. My husband usually finds work somewhere to provide for the home and family. She says, I'm a family of 5. And Quilicia says, things tough. And that's a comment coming from Maria. Good folks of this beloved country of ours. How things by you? Do tell us how things at your end this morning. How the cost of living treating you? What did you have for breakfast this morning? Mignon Wang is a 51-year-old part-time vendor, again of Madhya. Mignon Wang. Mignon says, well, the cost of living is very high because when you go to the market, you can't buy greens like how you used to before. Mignon Wang, you can't buy the greens how you used to buy it before. She said, when I pick up a small parcel, it can't do for my family. When I pick up tick leaf, I'm getting a small parcel for $200. Mignon concludes the cost of living is high. Folks, again, this is not the mirror, right? This is not the mirror. This is not the new nation, the mirror out of the PPP. This is not the new nation out of the PNC. It's not the key out of the Alliance for Change. This is Sabbath News, right? Martine Benjamin, 39-year-old single mother of Madhya. Martine says the cost of living is really high, especially when it comes to electricity. She says in Madhya, my electricity bill comes very high every month. She said the cost of living, or rather the cost for food items every month is double the price compared to the prices in Georgetown. Yep, Martine Benjamin, Madhya. And then there's Bridget Cummins, a pensioner from Atlanticville. Bridget says the cost of living really affecting me because the prices for food items have increased in the shops and market. Today, if you go and buy something at the shop for $500, another day the item is at another price. This is according to Bridget Cummins from Atlanticville. There is another price. She said, I'm not blaming anyone. I just want to know why the prices of food items so high. That's what she said. We'll give you guys one more. You can tell us how it costs to live and treating you by your end. Shondell Richmond, a 46-year-old housewife of Atlanticville. Shondell says, the cost of living affecting me a lot because the prices of items are high. I'm a family of 8, including my 7 children and husband. My husband washes house for a living, while one of my sons works to help provide for the family. She said, we try to budget and pool our money together to cope with the high cost of living. How many of you that might be the case by your end? The kids got to pitch in, the husband, the wife got to pitch in to make ends meet. God forbid you have a big family. Good folks, how do you cost of living at your end? How? That's what the folks said. Not just what the folks said. Here is what Mr. Jackview said quite recently about the cost of living, trying to downplay the effects of it, saying how much intervention the government has made to stabilize things. And then I want to take Mr. Norton's comment on the same subject matter. Take a look, take a listen. Your boy, Mr. Jackview.
I see Starbucks News going out, this thing they have, and they go to some elderly people and say, because they see it as a political issue, they say it as the cost of living gone up, and so what is your view on it? What's your view on it? But they don't say what we had to contend with, and they don't say that the cost of living is made up of many things. So cost of living is one, your utility bills, transportation, etc. Let's talk a bit about this, utility bills and how other countries have fared. You've had a massive increase in transportation costs in countries in this region and the price of electricity and water supply. If you check, just go and Google that and you'll see almost all the countries in the region have done this because fuel prices went up. So how did we in Guyana deal with this? And what did it cost the Treasury? How did we deal with it and what did it cost the Treasury? And how was it any different than other countries. So the first question is electricity prices. When all the other countries are increasing it. I've said this before, that when GPL budgeted this year their fuel costs to break even so that they can cover their recurrent costs, not the capital costs. Because everybody knows that the capital cost for GPL is funded by the government. We're funding the gas to energy project. We're funding the upgrade of the transmission system, the control center. All the capital costs of GPL is funded fully from the Treasury, and that has grown into billions of US dollars because we're preparing a modern grid. Last week I spoke of that. So forget the capital costs. Let's put that aside, the recurrent costs. They budgeted $70 US dollars per barrel of fuel, weighted average for this year to break even. The weighted average this year is, because they import all of this fuel, is $104. So when you calculate the volume, so that's like 34 US dollars more per barrel that they didn't budget for. So when you calculate the volume that they import minus times 34, you run up to 60-something million US dollars. I pointed out that we are going to the treasury for supplementary for 60-something million. That means we are putting in a subsidy of 66 to 70 million US dollars this year into GPL to pay for fuel. Because if we don't do that, what will happen? They'd have to increase the electricity prices to people to cover that increase in fuel costs that they have to import.
They'd have to increase that price for electricity. And that's what they say are the injections that they're making to bring down stabilize the cost of living. So you don't have a cost to be concerned. Janice Clark ain't got a cause to be concerned. That pensioner from Atlanticville, and Chandel Richmond, that 46-year-old housewife from Atlanticville, she ain't got nothing to worry about. Bridget Cummins again from Atlanticville, ain't got nothing to bother about. And Martine Benjamin, she ain't got nothing to bother about. And you got Mignan Wang, also from Madia. Mignan got nothing to worry about. Colisio Fredericks, everything nice by Colisio Fredericks, and nothing to worry about there as well. So that's some of what Mr. Jagdeo has said. Here's some of what Mr. Norton, leader of the opposition, Aubrey Norton, said recently in a press conference out of the PNCR on the very subject matter.
Second Vice President Barry Jagdeo has to be blind, deaf, or just insensitive to the realities in Guyana as it relates to the high cost of living? Or is it that because he is not dumb, he chooses to make statements which are out of touch with the realities of Guyana? 2 days ago, the Stabroek News reported Vice President Barry Jagdeo as claiming his government continues to actively ease the cost of living burden on its citizens. He sought, therefore, to discredit the Stabroek News weekly cost of living series as, I quote, a political ploy, unquote, and to dismiss the grievances expressed by citizens as bias. But as several commentators correctly observed, Jagdeo must be living in an alternate universe, or he is detached from the reality faced by ordinary Guyanese. However, in our view, Jagdeo's attempt to dismiss the daily hardships of ordinary Guyanese are directly due to him and his party's heartlessness for the plight of the vast majority of citizens across all regions and ethnic groups, and the fact that they live an elitist life and not in touch with the sufferings of the people of Guyana. Jagdeo's use of abstract figures on expenditures to defend his government only adds insult to injury. Instead, he should visit the homes and kitchens of ordinary citizens if he is really interested in knowing how they fare. Alas, He's not that interested. Struggling Guyanese, including those who voted for the PPP, must reflect on Jagdeo's continued rejection of high cost of living and poor living standards as their daily reality. They will most likely conclude, if they haven't already, that under the PPP government, life in Guyana is a burden that will not get better once it remains in office. The PPP's priorities are directed elsewhere, towards their business friends, families, and favorites. The PPP's reliance on large expenditure on infrastructure only creates false hopes for the many Guyanese on the lower and middle rungs of the economic ladder. Spending the monies Jagdeo claims were spent on fuel subsidies is an ineffective approach to ease the living costs. Such subsidies do not adequately trickle down to the ordinary citizens, and those who least need a subsidy, the already well-to-do, benefit the most, while the most needy benefit the least. Moreover, the PPP claims that it has increased disposable income by tens of billions of dollars is a mirage, as most of it has been swallowed up by the high and increasing cost of living. Jagdeo's response at his press conference yesterday that all this is how the free market works further exposes his indifference and his cluelessness in economic management. There is no free market in Guyana. The economics of Guyanese society is dominated and controlled in large measure by the PPP. Just check the allocation of over $666 billion, which are allocated to the PPP elite, their families, friends, and favorites through infrastructure, and you will see that the people of Guyana do not benefit. We accept that the PPP is incompetent and divisive. What we cannot accept is their unwillingness to listen to sensible, well-thought-out advice. On the 7th March 2024, we advised the PPP on the following, and I quote, that since the PPP continues to demonstrate a lack of interest in or even understanding of the cost of living crisis, we take this opportunity to highlight some of the measures we have been advancing for the last 2 years. We have called for the following. 1, the provision of a 50% salary increase for public servants at the time. 2, the raising of the tax-free threshold to $150,000 per month to put more money in the hands of the over 200,000 Guyanese workers in the public and private sectors. 3, the development of regional agriculture to reduce the costs of food. 4, the provision of large grants to help farmers purchase equipment to bring costs down. 5, the distribution of fuel vouchers to bring the cost of fuel down for farm to market transportation. 6, the provision of 2 hot meals to students to ease food costs the food costs that their parents face. 7, the establishment of a school transportation network to remove student transportation costs. 8, the immediate distribution of the unexpected $300 million windfall in oil revenue earned in 2022 due to the war in Ukraine. In addition to those, we outline many other measures that should be taken to reduce the cost of living, but the PPP continues to be deaf, blind, and insensitive to the Guyanese reality. We have concluded that as the next government, we will invest directly in the people of Guyana through our people-centered development strategy. We will work to ensure all Guyanese households are guaranteed a livable income within the shortest possible time. We will ensure that the country's oil wealth reaches the purses, pockets, and bank accounts of ordinary people. While the PPP believes in trickle-down economics, we in the opposition believe in the economics of the food cupboard and livable wages and incomes. The choices Guyanese will face at the next election could not therefore be more contrasting. On the one hand, a stagnant or declining quality of life under the PPP, and on the other hand, a government led by us that puts the well-being of the people first and at the center of its concerns, agenda, and development.
Get ready, Guyana! Kano Beauty Club, a French company, is coming to Guyana. Kenisha Chapman Besseret, the CEO of the company, will be in Guyana in order to offer different services such as ombre brows, touch-up brows, teeth whitening, ears detox, facial skincare, and the most exciting one, there will be a masterclass on ombre brows and all of the French techniques like brow mapping or shaping, color theory, skin anatomy, marketing and business tips, and a lot more. This course is designed for both beginner and experienced artists. No cosmetology or esthetician license is required. Register now and become your own boss. For more information, call +594 694 364868.
Yeah. Welcome back, folks. Very powerful statement from Mr. Norton there on the cost of living and how Guyanese are faring with that. And again, I asked the question, we heard the PPP, we heard the parliamentary opposition. How things by you end? I mean, you all are the greatest stakeholders that we have. How things by you? How things by you? Those of you who are living in the US, based on what your family back home is saying, or the amount of remittances you have to send, since we start pumping oil, y'all sending less. You're sending less to me, clearly, but you're sending less remittances back home. And that can tell you how the cost of living treating folks. Right? We've done 40 minutes thus far, and we're only talking about the cost of living. You see that? And again, a number of folks from Madi, a number of folks from Atlanticville weighing in that Starbuck News article about how the cost of living treating them. Folks, before we let you go, let's touch on a couple other things. There's Emmanuel, Leslie Hamilton, Eason Duke, Mark, and all the other folks joining us. Lionel Simon, there's Emmanuel, Gilali Cock, Ron Spencer Thom. Let's touch on a couple other things before. We got 18 minutes left. Before we wrap up, this is one of the things people complaining about. Like, it's what the oil money doing? If you all know, tell me, please. What we doing with the oil money in this country? Where is the place that got a lot of stagnant water? I saw them doing some work on it over the weekend here. UG Butts Park and Avenue of the Republic there. A lot of sewage water. Thought we'd solve that problem. In front of courts used to be another spot. Definitely not the same anymore. Used to be another spot with a lot of water. It's the land of the wrong set of water. People want good, proper water coming through their taps. A lot of water accumulating at the street corners. And sometimes it's just for the ones of a little drain, a little passage out to the drain close by. Something like that. But it's one of the things that News is pointing out today. Too much water accumulating at city intersections, posing a problem for residents. And you see this often. You got to skip over some pool of water. So that's happening on one front. Young mother lost her life to dengue at the hospital there in Essequibo. They recently released the newborn to the father. It got to be very, very painful, to lose your loved one in child's birth like this. Here's where whole family steps up, father especially. Whole family steps up. Thoughts with him. You all know about sleepless nights. When you got young baby, that's something people say colloquially. I got a young baby, I could move about how I like. Yeah, something. I understand why the father say man and woman, husband and wife. You need extra help. You need that extra help, folks. Life is a little bundle of joy, could be a little bundle of misery sometimes. But our thoughts with this and prayers with this young father. Right? young father, mother lost in childbirth there, and no thanks to dengue. And we got to take this problem on. We've been talking about this a little bit. How dengue is a real thing. It's not a fiction. And as easy as it's come, very deadly. As quiet as it comes, very, very deadly. You all be careful. Y'all be careful out there with dengue. Please and thank you. Be very, very careful with dengue out there. It's not an easy thing. Not an easy thing. I feel like I had it already. Not an easy thing at all. So this family is working through this loss, and what comes next. In a sense, if all we can do is pray for them, let's do that. Let's do that. So that's what we're following on that front. Thoughts with them. I often say, kudos to all of you there in the diaspora. You got the flag flying high. Some other people not like that, Some other folks not like that at all. And one, Shundle Curtis Phillips, a 52-year-old Guyanese, he's accused of violating the Surinamese Narcotics Act and participating in a criminal organization. The Surinamese want him. Right? He is believed to have a leadership role, according to the report, in this criminal organization in Suriname. Right? He is, thus far, they say, taken refuge in Paramaribo and may attempt to flee to Guyana. So the Surinamese authorities are looking for him. Yeah. No flag and flying high there. Shundle Curtis Phillips, Veronica Primo Rollins, and Brian Daniels, we got to keep the flag flying high. And look this, narco state. But I'm grateful for the work the good law enforcement people are doing. The good law enforcement people are doing. 2 busted over the weekend. Right? The local ganja ain't good enough for them. Foreign ganja. And gun discovered during a police intelligence-led operation. That's a new phrase locally. Intelligence-led operation. And then we showed you this last week. We were in Bartica, spoke with this family. The 2 young men, the son and the son-in-law, still missing there. According to reports, no trace of the missing men. And the boat captain out on bail. What was interesting? The father said to us last week, Uncle Sansan, he said the boat captain went out back to the scene of the accident. But he wasn't looking for the body. This is what the father alleged. He wasn't helping to look, the boat captain, he wasn't helping to look for these young men. He went looking for the boat engine. He went looking for the boat engine. And the father told us they're in separate boats. He was looking for the boat engine. They're looking for the loved ones. He asked if he could tether his boat to theirs while he fished around in these waters looking for his boat engine. Yeah. This family grieving the death or the missing loved ones, because the wife and father still holding out hopes that somehow these young men could be clinging to life somewhere, stranded on the shore somewhere there in the Essequibo River, in the Mazaruni River, rather. Our thoughts and our prayers with them as well. You see how much people hurting in this country? You see how many families are hurting in this country? Young men there, 2 from Agatash, Bartica, still missing, Region 7. Still missing. And then this shocked a lot of people over the weekend. Westminster contractor shot dead during a home invasion. Right? Shot dead. Report said that he repelled these bandits from out of his home and was chasing them out of the yard with his cutlass when one turned on him and shot him. See how crime is spiraling? Robeson on a sabbatical. Robeson Ben, the Minister of Home Affairs, he's on a sabbatical. People dying in the streets like nothing. You think that was the only one? There's more. Not just one. Can you imagine? You're even safe in your own house. You know. Fell not interfering with anybody. You had you. You're inside by you. And this is where them boys coming in. And shot Jai Ram Kishan. Shot him dead. As he confronted the bandits in his yard. Yeah. That's where we are, folks. Sadly. And again, we see thoughts and prayers with his family. And then another incident. Another incident over the weekend. A man shot at a bar. Shot at a bar. The Boathouse bar. This, they say, is following an argument with another fellow. This Atlanta Canaan up on the East Bank. Sherwin Hamilton, self-employed. He resided at Sarah Joanne on the East Bank there. Police says the Sherwin was shot in his upper left thigh by another man who escaped on a XR motorcycle. Right. A nurse who was at the bar used a vest to stop the bleeding. This is part of what the police force said. Hamilton was picked up by his wife and taken to the Diamond Diagnostic Center, where he was seen and examined by a doctor and pronounced dead. Just like that. You got at the bar to ease a little stress. You know, that's the thing that can kill you. That's the thing. When I was growing up, my mother used to say, if you stay inside, nothing can happen to you. Well, Ramkishun stayed inside. It's inside them boys come. You're outside of the bar. You're in a better fate. You're in a better fate. I'm telling you what my mother used to tell us. If you stay inside, nothing can happen to you. And then, again, I said, young people even seeing 30. Much more, our ripe age of 45. Young people seeing those ages. A crash at Fairfield. One dead, one hospitalized. 16 years old. 16 years old and gone. Can you understand that? Can you fathom that? 16 and gone, folks. And again, we have to say, thoughts and prayers with their families. The friend recovering, the friend dead. Our thoughts with their family. Thoughts with their family. Your loved one go out, you know what you don't know. Ain't gonna coming back here. The 16-year-old. Julio Joseph, student at Aurora Secondary School, died in this crash at Fairfield, Essequibo Coast, Region 2. The driver was his friend, Gavin Ash Narine, 20, lost control of the vehicle, crashed into a residence yard. They were both rushed to Saudi Hospital. Joseph was the second child of his parents, described as loving and willing. Loving and willing. Julio Joseph, his body is now at the mortuary there in Region 2, awaiting a post-mortem examination. Right. He's from Pomona Housing Scheme, 16 and gone. Julio Joseph. That's what we're talking about. Young people and living to know. No age now. Thoughts and prayers with the Joseph family there in Region 2. Thoughts and prayers with them. Young son gone out with some colleague. You don't know. He ain't coming back. Let's talk to our young people about being careful on our roadways. Guyana has the most deadliest roadways in the world. In the world. And another front, we get a lot of commentary out of the police force, the prison service. Lionel Simon said the thing need blood. Maybe on something there, Lionel. Prison officers encourage, admonish to treat inmates with respect and professionalism. This according to the head of prisons, Mr. Elliott, over the weekend. Treat the inmates with respect and professionalism. I can tell the inmates, treat the officers with respect and professionalism. You know, while that's happening on that front, now words lost in what's happening in the prison system. You know, they're telling us the same breath. In the condemned area, Mazruni prison, a number of prohibited items. This is like gold in prison. Right? You get a knife, you get your scissors, you got your ice pick, cigarette, cell phone. How much a phone call on the other side of the bar? How much for a phone call on the other side of the bar? And you know, they make a search there now. They might find these same items back there, if not more. How is that possible? Ever so often we hear on these raids, these searches, and they always keep on uncovering more contraband, more prohibited items. How is that possible? Who letting them pass? Who letting them pass? You all can tell us. Right? 4 cell phones, 1 charger, 2 lighters, 12 improvised weapons. Joint prison search. Yeah. Yep. Nicklon Elliott, Director of Prisons, treat the inmates with respect and professionalism. Respect and professionalism. I think that's going to do it for us. Remember we showed you recently the young reporter asking Jack Newell. She said, you keep pointing us to Vikram for more information. But Vikram, hard to meet, hard to reach. We can't find him. He don't hold press conferences. Few ministers do in this government. Few ministers are encouraged to do so. So we find it funny when Vice President Barjatnio says ministers must defend their policies. When instructed to do so by the Vice President, ministers must defend their policies. They must engage the press. They must answer questions. Interesting. Quite interesting. Linden Hospital Complex pushing back against allegations that there's a drug shortage there. Pushing back against those allegations, stating that they aren't true, and this is according to the administrator there at the Linden Hospital Complex. Late last week, I think in one of the press conferences, might have been the one coming out of the Alliance for Change, where it was said there is shortages. Well, if you got to believe between the folks from AFC and the PPP, I there with my boys and girls in the AFC. Drug shortage. We know this is something that's prevalent. Can't remember the individual. Somebody messaged me earlier talking about a recent visit to New Amsterdam. We can talk about that this evening. Tonight we can talk about that. PNCR, the Alliance for Change again over the late last week, spoke about what's happening at Parima Airstrip. $400 million. Right. The airstrip captain, like Wafer. Wafer might be stronger. Plane recently got stuck there. So numerous commentators said this could have ended much differently. Now there are calls for a full probe of the Parima airstrip problems. Full probe. That's what we want. Full probe. Let's get to the bottom of it. What's really happening there? My little nephew used to say, what's the real truth? That's it, folks. That's it. That's it. We're going to put up the dates officially when we're going to be out, so you guys can be guided accordingly. So don't worry though. We're going to put up the dates. This is our final morning program until we see you guys back. But we are going to be on intermittently, folks, on different interviews and so on. So not to worry, and you're going to be kept up to date what we're doing. Follow us on Instagram. You can follow me personally, Sherry Duncan, on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Credible Sources on TikTok, Sherry Duncan on TikTok. Follow us, folks. We're posting more videos on our YouTube channel. Follow us there as well. Follow us as well on our Facebook page or Facebook pages, wherever you're viewing us from. Click like on that link. Smash that emoji button for us, good folks. Right, so this is our final program, morning program for a couple of days. Final evening program this evening, a couple of days. Y'all can see a lot of us, man. Don't worry about that. Y'all can see plenty of we. All right? I'm heading to see I am heading to see Naomi. Naomi says she will miss me, but her husband gonna be happy. Respect of modesty. He has our regards. Handing you back to your families for a couple of days. For a couple of days, folks. That's gonna do it for us at this end. That's gonna do it for us at this end. Until we see you guys back this evening, that's our time and that's our program. Audrey Winter and Deborah, Roxanne Jonas, Veronica Primo Rollins, all you wonderful, fantastic folks. Good to see you guys on the live this morning. Do us a big favor. You don't have to send me nothing if you don't want to. But smash that emoji button for us, folks. Share the live as well and smash that emoji button. I said, you're not compelled in any way to send us a donation to keep our broadcast going. You're not compelled in any way. But if the Lord laid on your heart, please and thank you. That's going to do it for us at this end. Stay safe, good folks. Good to have had all of you guys. Sandra and Wilton, Yvonne, Alicia. I see Let We Go is here too. Yvonne Ramasar, thanks for joining us this morning. Stay safe.